here's Brody Brazil.
You know, most of my coverage surrounding the Orlando Dreamers has really centered on what the Dreamers are saying, what media in Orlando is saying. I haven't really put my own thoughts and opinions into this much, but that's what I'm about to do here in this video, the good and the bad of the Orlando Dreamers. And when I say good, I'm not necessarily like on their team or on their side in any of this. I really don't have a horse in the race. I'm really just trying to say, here's the things that I think they're doing the right way, or they're doing best for themselves, or that are going to work out. And when I say bad, I generally mean things that I don't agree with, or I wouldn't do it that way, or I don't know that that's the most appropriate way, etiquette-wise or anything else, to handle a certain situation. So the good and the bad of the Orlando Dreamers and how they're going about all of this. Here's the three good things in a row. Number one, they're being very proactive. It's one of those cases where if you ever have something that you want in life, that you need in life, and this is your one chance in life, and the window of opportunity has opened up. And look, I'm not saying that with any joy. Hurricane Milton ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field. That's why the Rays don't have a permanent home. That caused an additional layer of complication to all this. And quite honestly, without that happening, I don't know that the Dreamers would have built up like they have in the last 6 months and started to make these pushes during this 2025 baseball season. That established, this is what they realize. Again, I'm not fond of the poaching a team part of that, but I also realize that if you want something and you just want to get yourself out there, they're being very proactive in getting their name and their message and their desires out there. Like I said, it's unfortunate timing for the Rays. There's no question about that. The White Sox, potentially. I mean, could have been talking to Orlando, could be talking to the Dreamers in some capacity. Who knows what the White Sox next move is? I'm not really fond of them threatening people in Illinois or Chicagoans that they're going to leave the area. So I think all of that is unfortunate, the hows and the whys of this is even a thing. And I do think there is a fine line of poaching, right? There's a fine line of existing and being proactive, but also flat out saying, well, yeah, we're going to go after the Rays, which quite honestly, they are kind of having to do that. So I'm going to cut it off and just say, in terms of getting your name, getting your message, getting your brand out there, in terms of being proactive, I think the Dreamers are doing a good job at that. If you sit on your hands, like, nothing's going to get done. This is the only way something might happen for them, or even to be explored. They have revealed who they are. This is my second good thing I think they've done. Staying anonymous like they were, I don't even know, a month and a half ago, like nobody really knew Dr. Rick Workman or John Morgan. They knew about Barry Larkin as kind of the front man. He emerged, I want to say at the beginning of this calendar year, 2025 or so, or was it 24? But he's been out there as the front-facing conduit to Major League Baseball for a while. Now the anchor investor and another investor in John Morgan have been presented. I also like the fact that it's multiple faces and names and personalities. It's not just the one person with their one message and trying to keep it a small circle. I kind of like the fact that they're building this and they've made it public who they are, where they come from. And in the case of Dr. Rick Workman, he flat out said in an interview with Channel 9 in Orlando, the reason why he's doing this is that he loves baseball. I mean, John Morgan said he's doing this because he wants to make money, right? So there is the yin and the yang of that. And I respect an owner coming out to say, yeah, I'm putting all my money into this. And if you want to know the reason why, it's because I just love baseball. Granted, it's got to be a good financial decision too. But I like the fact that they've revealed who they are, multiple different facets, multiple different personalities, and at least one of them is saying the reason why is because he loves the idea of this. In terms of people, one more thumbs up to give here, and that's the fact that Barry Larkin is a conduit to Major League Baseball. Let's not forget that no matter what happens between Stuart Sternberg or the Rays or the city of Tampa or St. Pete or Orange County of Orlando or the city of Orlando or the state of Florida, whoever, you name the name, it all kind of doesn't matter unless all of this gets approved and is thought over by Major League Baseball. You need a connection to Major League Baseball if you're the Dreamers to get any of this done. And in terms of Major League Baseball, there's generally no higher regard for a human being than if you played or if you were part of the game. And Barry Larkin, for a very long time in the city of Cincinnati, it's a tongue twister, huge part of Major League Baseball for a lot of years. So Barry Larkin as the front-facing person here, Barry Larkin as a resident of Orlando, somebody who's raised his family in Orlando, somebody who's got that rank, so to speak, in Major League Baseball. What a great conduit to baseball for the Dreamers. So I like the fact that They're not just talking about investors. They're not just talking about business people wearing suits. Barry Larkin is also in on their team and also helping out. Okay, we're going to get to the 3 thumbs down here now. These are the bad. And I don't like saying bad. These are just the things that maybe I wouldn't be doing or I wouldn't lean on or rely on. And one of them here is using tourism as the main ingredient. Now, I'm kind of interpreting that because in the coverage I've seen and in the conversations and interviews, like the Dreamers, if they're asked, why do you know this is going to be successful? Tourism comes up. Like, to me, tourism and professional sports, but specifically tourism in Major League Baseball, with the quantity of games, the time of year, the duration of baseball games, and nowadays they're about 3+ hours, but tourism can be a supporting element for a fan base and to create something sustainable in a city, right? Like, it can be there to help. There's no question about it. But still, and I know the A's will tell you in Las Vegas, that's what they're aiming for too. So somebody's going to be the test dummy on this, literally the test dummy on this, and figure out if tourism works or not for Major League Baseball throughout a summer. Can it be like a main component? Can it really get you 30% of your fans, your fan base? That number just seems a little bit high. I don't care if you've got 40 million tourists rolling into town or 80 million, like in Orlando, rolling into town on an annual basis. I just don't know. There's got to be a reason why nobody's done this yet. So the fact that tourism is kind of branded as the main ingredient here of why this is going to go well. Orlando already has enough market size. They've also gone out and made the point that it's the largest television market right now in the United States without a baseball team. That's more of the bread and butter here. Bread and butter here of the whole situation. Tout your industry, tout your, sponsors, potential businesses that would get in, tout the size of your demographics, all of that stuff. You're already big enough there. You shouldn't be aiming and saying that tourism is what's going to float the boat. Your market is, and your tourism can be the icing on that cake. Second thumbs down here is that only one location off International Drive that they have put out there, they've made renderings for, like anything else in life. It's hard to put all your eggs in one basket. They've committed to that site. They've doubled down on that site. They've committed hard to that site. They've also now backed up and said, well, if there has to be another site or if we have to go somewhere else and there's a roadblock, we can do that too. Well, maybe it should have started out casting a wide net and then narrowing in. What if politically that site is not doable? What if it's a hard arrangement for some reason? Like, there's a lot of things that could stop that from happening. And then what? More renderings, seems like instability or uncertainty. That's not a good situation. Or if you're just bargaining, maybe more options or maybe a better deal exists on a different plot of land. I know they've researched this, they've done their homework on this, but maybe committing to just one site so early in this process may not have been their best option. Start with multiple and then narrow it down over time. I would also say the last thumbs up here is that they're definitely not politically complete yet. They do not have the mayor of Orange County or maybe a city council's endorsement. I know one county commissioner is behind the Dreamers and has collaborated with them. I know the governor has made a push to just simply keep Major League Baseball 2 teams in the state of Florida, but they're not really endorsed or backed by politicians yet. I say yet. If they do this the right way, that's the next thing that's going to happen. They're obviously wanting to purchase that land from Orange County on International Drive. They need to square away a land purchase before anything else, before you get to a development agreement, before you get to a community benefits package, before you talk about public subsidies of any sort. Understanding of benefits is a huge deal. The mayor of Orange County has already said so much back on last Friday at the state of the county address that he did. So not politically complete yet. As much as you can talk about, well, we've got our investors and we've got this and we've got that. Well, you don't really have a site. You've got a site you'd like to be on, and you don't have all the politicians on your side, and you don't have all that part approved and squared away. So I would hope that behind the scenes, they are working extremely hard on this part so that everything else is just a little bit more complete if and when their opportunity comes around. And again, I'm covering this Dreamers situation because I find it very interesting based on recent other stories and developments like the A's, like Las Vegas, how it all came to be. All of this very much reminds me of 2021 and 2022. Somebody else emerges, There's these two conversations. There's a struggle in one place, like in Tampa and St. Pete. There's an owner who's reluctant to sell. You know what? Maybe Stuart Sternberg doesn't at all want to sell his team to the Orlando Dreamers in that group. Maybe Stuart Sternberg is looking at all this saying, why deal with you? I'm just going to move my team and not sell them and move them to Orlando, and I'm going to round up some investors, and I'm going to try and build something similar. Maybe that's what Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings was talking about the other day. Maybe it is the Rays as one of those other groups. Speculation, but educated speculation, and who knows how this is going to go. That's why it's so fascinating. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Greatly helps me, the video, and the channel. And don't forget to go down there and hit that subscribe button. You know I would love to see you definitely back here next time.